Hi everyone, and thank you for joining my team and I here today. My name is Kathy and I'm going to be taking you through the first part of the presentation. Feel free to ask any questions along the way and I hope that you enjoy the presentation. Now, let's get started with an overview. So firstly, I'm going to start by running through the inverted commas, finger quotations, HRM department, touching on the business rationale for the new HRM function, paying particular attention to Deliver Ed's context. I'll then be passing the torch to Cian, who after that will be moving on to the analysis, defining and outlining the purpose and objectives of the HRM department with some examples, of course. Following on from that, he will be discussing some of the main weaknesses or improvement areas, as I would rather call them, touching on how the new HRM department function could help to readjust business objectives and employees' expectations. And finally, Brian will wrap it all up with some solutions based around 3 challenges faced by people operations that should be prioritised to regain employees' cooperation. Does that sound good? Okay, super, let's get started. Now, the most suitable name my team and I have chosen is people operations, meaning and working towards people working harmoniously together to achieve the company's goals. Now, you might be wondering how we got here, so let's take a look at Deliver Ed's situation. There was a serious lack of communication and cooperation within the business. Employees are and have been unsatisfied with their amount of work and their current position. And there seems to be a one-side approach to HRM, and that's hard HRM, which will be explained a little more in the following presentation. These are only 3 reasons, but I can assure you that there are and have been many more. How we ended up with people operations is a different story. So it was very tough deciding on a name, and we played around with other names such as human capital management, people resource center, talent management, but we went with people operations because it focuses on both people and operation activities. It kind of drives home that people are the first priority of the HRM department. And it's actually also been adopted by Google and Uber, and it seems to be working very well for those 2 companies, so we decided to follow in their footsteps. Change is never easy, but it was clear that Deliver Ed needed to implement a change as employees are reluctant to devote the effort into working, to strengthen Deliver Ed's organisational structure, and it also provides the managers with a better approach in terms of getting people to work together because, as we all know, teamwork makes the dream work. Now, if there are no questions, I'm going to pass it over to Cian, and thank you for listening, everyone.
My name is Cian, and I'll be taking over with the analysis. So as you already know, HRM is defined as a set of organizational activities that relate to the management of relationships amongst employees within a business. It assumes that human resources at a competitive edge mean it is important that employee commitment is rewarded fairly. Therefore, HR decisions are crucial. So the purpose of Deliver Ed's new people operations is to put more emphasis on a dedicated department that is fully concerned with employee welfare. By assuming control of recruitment, hiring, training, compensating, and all other HR activities, the people operations team will look after the staff interests, ensuring equal opportunity for all, with an aim to facilitate all HR activities in the hope for increasing employee commitment. Following on from this, the objectives of people operations is to generally create a better work environment for all the staff with the hope to boost morale and company-wide engagement. By offering such training and development, administering benefits, and keeping a good personal relationship with the staff, the team should be able to improve staff retention and enhance productivity, which has been a major problem in the past. Moving on, so HR procedures should be integrated into strategies. In the past, Deliver Ed failed to effectively train new and recently promoted staff, which caused major issues. The people operations will actively facilitate employees in these areas with the hope to realign goals and expectations. So problems. Creating new systems and strategies may prove problematic as these things don't come overnight. For the new department, they might get a bit of time getting right, so there will be problems there. So weaknesses. Um, we identified Deliver Ed as having hard human resource management practices. This is clear as both the CEO and management are more focused on money and profits with little concern for employees, viewing them only as a resource to achieve their goals. A lack of disciplined HRM department. This has led to a divide amongst workers, leaving some feeling they have been mistreated, causing commitment levels and morale to drop across the board. So how do we improve these weaknesses? The idea of using a blend of hard and soft HRM to gradually switch will yield better employee relationships is the approach we think will suit best. The People Operations Department will be able to introduce a more achievable method of administering bonuses and benefits through the performance management system, as well as offering training and development where needed. This in turn should enhance the experience of every worker and help with commitment. I'm going to hand you over to Brian now, who's going to run you through the rest of the slides, but if there's any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks for that, Cian. I'm Brian, and I'll be taking you through the main challenges faced by the HR department and what they can do to regain employee cooperation, as well as subsequently increasing motivation and morale of employees. The three main challenges faced by the Deliver Ed HR department is the lack of formal channels, the unfair reward management systems, and the unorganized and chaotic state. Deliver Ed still believe that their old system, that anyone can knock on the CEO's office to discuss any issues or difficulty they faced, was still an acceptable way, but HR practices nowadays do not align. The lack of formality within line managers and having no direct line of communication meant that employees felt their voices weren't being heard. There were also reports from employees that there was an unfair reward system. With no official performance management system, it created an uneven playing field for employees. Considering most promotions are based on the performance management system, there must be a company-wide system implemented. The overall organized and chaotic state of Deliver Ed resulted in a high staff turnover rate, as well as a decrease in overall employee morale. Situations arose where employees were stepping down from promotions due to the lack of structure and not enough financial incentives. As well as issues in the pay structure, the lack of non-financial bonuses further show the unorganized and chaotic state of Deliver Ed. So, in conclusion of what we've covered so far in this presentation, number one, the proper name for the HRM department is now the People Operations Department. Number two, why there should be a change. The overall Deliver Ed's organizational structure must be changed to allow them to stay competitive in an increasingly difficult market. Number three, the purposes and objectives of the HRM, function and examples. HRM is about relationship management, mostly between employees. Examples of this where it's important start from the top down, from CEOs to line managers, all the way down to the bottom staff. Number four, the main weaknesses in Deliver Ed's approach to HRM. Their biggest issue is their hard HRM concept. They mostly focus on profit and not employee happiness or overall morale. Number five, how could the people's operations help the business realign a company's objectives and employees' expectations? They could realign the company's objectives by increasing employee happiness, and they could do this by implementing a mix of soft and hard HRM practices. And finally, number 6, the 3 HRM issues that Delivery Edge should focus on are what I've just discussed, which are the lack of formal channels, unfair reward systems, and an organized, chaotic state. I'd like to thank you all for listening, and if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. Thanks.